Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of High Level's Masterclass. Today, I have the privilege of bringing someone named Francis Rodino. Francis has been in our high level community for years now. I feel like I met him a long time ago. We spent a lot of hours together, and we are excited to share his journey with you. And of course, it's a masterclass format. And the part that I'm more excited about is the fact that he is a SaaSpreneur Gold Award winner. And I feel like Francis is one of those guys that worked really hard, went through different strategies, different plans, and all kinds of loops just to get the ball rolling. He was one of our first ever European customers, from what I remember. And the early days, high level was different. So, Francis paved the way for a lot of Europeans to be a success story. Today, we are going to talk about building a leads machine. So, Francis, thanks for saying yes. I cannot believe we are recording a cool segment here. What a journey.
Well, yes, as you said, I'm proud that I'm still here to tell the tale. There you go, because you're right. We've been through a lot, lots of iterations, lots of trial and error, and we came onto the high level community back in 2018. That's 7 years ago, seven
Yeah.
years ago, and a lot has changed, right? The industry has been catapulted into the world of AI
Yeah.
and, SaaS mode and SaaSpreneurs. Like when we joined High Level, there was no SaaS. There was no SaaSpreneur. There was only just agencies, using this tool that it was their secret sauce, their best kept secret for a while, to help with their services. So I'm privileged to kind of have seen the company grow and you guys you know, evolve into something new and exciting. And your growth has been, the growth of the business has been really, something to witness and really, really special, So it's been
I
great to be a
love it.
part of the community. And one of the first players, I think, in the UK, when not a lot of people really knew about high level. And, in the UK, we were really one of the first businesses to start specializing in high level, getting to know the system very well, getting to know the team as well and the people behind the software, and kind of offering it to UK businesses. And there's a lot of nuances, right? There's a big difference between the US market and the UK market. And not to, we're now global, but UK businesses definitely have to there's some considerations and differences which are important to know as well. But yeah, it's all good. And
Absolutely.
yeah, thanks for the opportunity to speak and to talk to you guys about essentially what is my 9-step system that I developed over the course of these years with high level at the core that enables us to help our clients and help ourselves and grow businesses and make an impact.
I love it. I was so proud when you guys walked the stage at the high level conference and grabbed your awards, and it was very fulfilling. Yeah, it was amazing journey to see. You remember certain people among the thousands, and it just like,
Thank you.
man, my heart was like cheering for you and your team. Francis, let's talk about the masterclass today. What do you have in mind? I know leads management, building a leads machine, following pipelines. There's a lot, and you even wrote a book around this, right? So help us
Yeah,
understand what the agenda is.
absolutely. So my book is called Leads Machine. It's the 9-step system to generate consistent, predictable sales and scale your service-led business. So if you are a business owner, that you sell a service, you're looking for more appointments, you're looking to drive traffic to a webinar or a booking system, and you want to do that in a way that isn't hopeful and it isn't just random. It's what we have developed that kind of works for our clients and also for ourselves. And after doing this with high level for about 8 years now, you recognize that, well, when you're working with clients, you tend to do the same things again and again. And obviously, I wanted to put what I learned into a book, so that other people could do it, use this as well. Obviously it's to elevate our brand and help our business as well, authority, but it's also, we got a lot of businesses knocking on our door that we couldn't necessarily help because they were not at the right level of growth. They didn't have the marketing budgets, the right stage. And I
Right,
really wanted to
maturity.
have
Yeah.
I wanted to have something that I could give them, right? Instead of just saying, no, we can't help you, I wanted to say, hold on, here, we've just packed everything that we do into a book. Take the book, and then you'll see what we do. And maybe out of those people, some of them will decide to work with us with done for you solutions. Other people can just take the book and read it. And even if you take one out of the 9 steps that I'm going to walk through on this master class, you should get a lot from it. So, yeah, I'm
I
going to
love it. Yeah.
walk you through that in this master class. It's called the RED method in the book, which stands for roadmap, engine, and drive.
I
And I'll
love
get
that.
to that
Yeah.
a little bit later when I kind of unpack it.
Yeah, let's do it. So yeah, if you want to share your slides, you can do that now. As
Okay.
you guys are watching this masterclass, in the comments, please tell us what city and state. Maybe you are a fellow European or UK person. Make sure you comment and you connect. We do have events coming up pretty shortly here in Europe. But yeah, tell us what city and state you're coming from. If you're excited for this masterclass, yeah. Francis, if you want to share your screen, we can go right into it. I know there's a ton of ground to
Fantastic. Thank
cover.
you very
Yeah.
much. So I should be sharing
Yeah,
my
you're
screen
good.
here. Yeah.
Perfect.
And so, yes, it's the red method. And I outline it in my book, Leads Machine. And I'm going to talk to you. You might be asking, why is it called the red method? What does that have to do with anything? And I'll tell you all about that. But firstly, I want to just explain what you're going to get in this 30, 40 minutes uh, today on this masterclass. So this is all about building sales certainty. We want to have some certainty when we grow our business. Not knowing where your next customers, clients, or opportunities are going to come from is confusing, stressful, can lead to burnout. And I would say it's like the holy grail. It's definitely what I didn't have when I was starting out. And, as we put in place marketing systems for clients, we want to create systems that kind of generate leads, sales, um, on autopilot all the time in a predictable, consistent way. So this is what we're going to go over. So in the next hour or so, essentially, I'm going to answer some questions really about why your marketing doesn't work if you've been doing marketing for your agency or your business. Um, we'll look at some reasons those leads aren't converting, how to unlock sales certainty and build a predictable, scalable growth engine that you can rely on. The 9 step leads machine framework, right? And this is a proven system that we are using with our clients to generate significant revenue and importantly free up their time. So we work with $25 million and pound businesses across the UK and the US. These are the same exact systems, but they also work for smaller businesses as well. And then I'm going to kind of show you a little bit underneath the bonnet. I'm going to show you my high level account that we use for our own sales and marketing. I'll show you how we manage our pipeline. I'll show you some of the automations that we're working on the landing page. And obviously, I'm going to throw that all into a snapshot that we've created that we're going to give to you for free as
Right.
a kind of,
As long as you have a high level account, okay? You
yeah.
won't be able to use a snapshot without one. So if you're watching this For whatever reason you're not part of the high level ecosystem yet, this would be a great time to jump into a 14-day trial. You get all the collaterals from Francis and this masterclass. We'll make sure that's all available to you.
Absolutely. And yeah, and then, I'm sure, we'll take some questions, and Paulson, you can also interject with your own and
Yep,
have you answer any questions
absolutely.
that you've got about like how you can customize that for your own business. So that should be by the end of the session. That's what you can expect.
Love it.
So the outcomes are just going to be, clarity to help you go from confusion to full clarity, um, the exact steps that we've used to increase our conversion efficiency to 32%, and how to build a system that will bring in clients 24/7 without the manual effort. And as I said again, sales certainty. So that is the Red Method Masterclass that you're starting now. Okay. So why the Red Method? What is the Red Method? What does it stand for? Well, we all look to create thriving, happy, successful businesses, all right? And at the center of the Red Method is this aspiration to not just survive and get by, but it's actually to thrive. And to do that, to produce that key outcome, you really want to produce three things. One is greater control over your marketing, your data, your systems, your ability to manage the business and make decisions. The number two is predictable sales. We need those predictable sales so we can plan for the future and to stand out online, to stand out, differentiate yourself, be known as a unique value proposition. And to do that, you're going to want a roadmap. That's the R in the Red Method. The roadmap that will help you go from confusion to clarity. Then the second thing is an engine, right? It's the engine that's going to help you go from antiquated, doing things manually, doing things the old way, to fully automated, seamless, and fast. And the third thing is really driving forward, driving that vehicle forward, going from invisible to fully is irresistible. And those are essentially the three core levers that we pull in the red method: roadmap, engine, and drive. And I outline this in my book Leads Machine, which is available on Amazon. But this is not about Leads Machine. This is about the red method. And we got some great reviews here, even from Sean Clark himself, that has been a champion of our business, really helpful to us, which we've got to know since 2018, that will vouch for us. So if you want to check it out, it's a system that's really helped us to generate over 500 million for hundreds of businesses in the UK and beyond. But
Love
I
it.
just want to kind of outline how I got here. So why should you listen to me? And uh, you know, what's the difference here? And the thing is that I've been in a really sad place as well when I was just leaving my corporate career. So I had 25 years in senior level digital media roles for big brands, doing, running campaigns, multi-million pound global campaigns for big agencies. And it got to the point where I felt like I wanted to make a bigger impact, help more people, and I could do that only by starting my own business and leaving that corporate world behind, leaving the leaving the comfort, if you will, of a steady paycheck without the guarantee of actually accomplishing anything. So I know what it's like to start a business, start an agency, a consultancy from scratch, and not knowing really who you're working with, who your ideal clients are, what your offers are going to be. And Paulson has seen me through this He knows very well
I
because
I do yeah, I do feel like a witness to this journey. Like I feel like I remember when you guys were in the early stages and maybe like a year after when you started or something like that, 2019.
yeah,
I want to say we had less than 1,000 customers at High Level when I came across Francis, and it was some challenging times. I mean, the part that I think most people don't share is the trouble that it took to get to the top of the mountain. They only share what's on top of the mountain and the success stories behind it, right? So I think, Francis, it's fair for you to share the road that took that the windy road that took so long to get there. And part of that is because of the environment we're in. It's middle of COVID and all kinds of stuff. And the other is you have a new system, right? With high level, it's very, back then it was very new. Like we didn't have all the capabilities that it has now. Early days, all the features were great, but everything didn't work at full capacity and, or there's overloaded. There's a lot to that. But how did you make this jump of the corporate leadership role to then becoming an entrepreneur? I know a ton of you are watching and you're in that mode now today. It's like, how do I leave my job and start a business?
yeah. Well, I mean, gosh, I would say that it's not for the faint-hearted. I don't recommend everybody do it, but I think that some of you out there will just know that you're kind of not in the right place. There will be a nagging feeling inside you that you can do more, that you deserve more, that you have a capability and something to offer. And I think that, I'm kind of like, I won't say how old, but I'm not 20, I'm not in my 20s anymore. And I think, time is of the essence. And I got to that place in my career where like looked at the time ahead of me and I thought, well, you can either stay in that job and climb a corporate ladder or not climb. And more than often, it's not climb, it's even perhaps climbing down or climbing parallel, you know, um, or you can believe in yourself. That's what I had is I didn't know how, I didn't know what, but I had a belief in myself that I would burn the bridges and I would be successful. Okay. I successful in quotes because everyone has a different interpretation of success. Some people might want to replace their salary. Other people might want uh, a performance business that is very, people intensive, seven figure, eight figure. I won't tell you what my goal was, but I mean, my goals change. And at the first instance, it was just about replacing one income for another, right? And I think the second learning was really about just not not going back, not giving up and not going back. Because as long as you have a plan B, you will take it. I guarantee it. If your mom or your parents might encourage you to keep one foot in another world or have a backup plan, right? But I guarantee you, if you have a backup plan, you will take the backup because the dream is much, much harder, right? And the forces of the physics that kind of stop you from achieving that dream, they're going to be too challenging if you just have a safety net. So I think you have to take a bet on yourself as an entrepreneur. You have to believe in yourself and you have to just go forward and keep on going and know that actually, I think despite what you might see on social media, that success doesn't happen quickly. And if you can, I got a SaaSpreneur award after nearly 8 years. And I didn't get my first 100 clients quickly, right? So, that's a myth. Let's dispel that myth. Maybe other businesses have it, and if you have a large audience and you can easily onboard 100 to 200 or 1,000 clients, but there's very, very few that actually do that. And I think the majority, if you're going into this, you just need to be there for the long haul and committed to just driving success for yourself and that consistency.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, that's kind of like the biggest learning is to just keep that snowball rolling and
Yeah.
small, consistent activities. And then you
Yeah.
look back after a year, 3 years, 5 years, and you see, well, you're at a different place,
Yeah.
right?
So when it comes to the roadmap, the R in the red method, how did you finally get to a place where you're like, you know what? This is what the roadmap looks like. What was the journey to kind of just building that foundation?
Okay, I'll actually I'm going to dive deep into that in a second
Yeah,
if I may, and and
let's do
and
it. Let's do it.
I'll show you the actually slides. So, just I'm going to speed up my own
Go for
story.
it. Yeah.
2018. I'm glad you asked because this was in my slide. Burned the bridges, took a bet on myself, tried a million things, cried on Paulson's shoulder a few times. He was a great help, to me to help
Yeah,
me.
back then we would jump on, well, we still do jump on Zoom rooms and Zoom calls, but everybody at the top leadership, we would spend so many hours with customers, and we still do. And Francis, we've spent a lot of time on Zoom looking at your business, figuring out what to do, what not to do. But absolutely, let's keep going.
Yeah. And so fast forward, I've have certain accomplishments and I'm really grateful to High Level because I just kind of found a community and a software I can use that made sense to me. I understood how to use the tool to deliver success for clients. So won an award, wrote a book, Leads Machine, and proud to say that we know we've really solidified our place, at least in the UK market, as one of the top, if not the top, sales automation companies and high level expertise teams. We're specializing in AI and automation right now. So it's been an amazing journey. Picked up, we've been speaking, picked up the Gold Award. And now, to get to the content, I know there's a bit of the story, right? But to get to the meat and potatoes of the Red Method, it was really to answer the questions about why doesn't my marketing work? How do I get new clients predictably and consistently? And the thing is that, what we find more often than not is like everybody's chasing the the 3% of active buyers. Like if you put your offer in front of 100 people, chances are around 3% they're going to be in that buying mode, seeking what you've got or the problem that you're solving. They're seeking a solution. But you have 67% of the market which get ignored by most businesses because they are just don't have the systems, the follow-up, the ability to create and nurture those relationships for the long term. So yeah, if you're fishing in the red ocean where everybody else is, yeah, you will pick up clients, but I'd like to challenge you and say there's another opportunity, when you put in more strategic systems that will basically put your brand in front of these people and also um, communicate the right messages at the right stage of those people to drive them down here. That's where you really have an opportunity for a longer term. And at the end of the day, there's really only four ways to grow your business. People kind of think, gosh, they get really stressed out about growing their business and with all the social media and the shiny new objects and the ads and the strategies that are coming out, actually it comes down to four things. Number one, you need more leads. Chances are more leads equals more conversations equals more presentations equals more sales. Okay, number two, if you increase the conversion rate of the leads that you have, you're going to have more sales, right? Get it up from 3% to 4% more sales. The third thing is you can increase your prices, right? So tomorrow, if you want to grow your business, increase your prices. There you go. You've grown your business. And the fourth is the purchase frequency is the amount, the number of times people buy from you, right? And so if we're able to tweak those dials a little bit, that's really how we start to grow, okay? And with, the cool thing about high level is especially if you set things up properly so you can track all of these, right? You're able to actually really kind of laser focus in on one of these dials to retro engineer. All right, well, how do we increase our conversion rates? How do we maybe encourage less no-shows and more attendees to our webinars or our demos? So this, I just want to set the scene here, right? Because it's so easy for clients to come along. I'm absolutely sure you get this all the time where you're on a sales calls, you're speaking to prospects, and they're like, I need more leads, especially small businesses. They just need more leads, and they're not really thinking about the bigger picture, what's happening underneath the bonnet. So if you imagine, um, it's like looking at an iceberg. You're out in the middle of the ocean and you see this thing popping out of the water. That's kind of like a tiny little percentage, like 10% of
Yeah.
really solving the problem. Okay,
Yeah, a lot of
10%.
people like treating the symptoms in marketing and not the root cause of the real issue of a business.
Yes, and especially our clients, because as the marketing agency, we can learn this stuff for ourselves, but our clients don't always see it that way, especially small businesses that are just trying to get by, right? And they're not necessarily immersed in the strategies of marketing and lead generation and marketing automation and nurture, follow up, and all of that stuff that you use high level to do. They're just thinking leads. I need more leads. I need more leads. And we have that conversation all the time, but we try to actually paint a picture that actually, yeah, you just leads is one thing, right? But actually, if you're going to move your business in the right direction, you want to be pushing at the bottom of the iceberg, pushing forward. It's what you have underneath all of that. The base of the iceberg is actually where you're going to find the majesty of business growth. And underneath, standing out online consistently, the greater control of your marketing systems, your data, your ability to make the right decisions and sales certainty and predictability, they all happen really underneath the iceberg. And that's where you're going to find the thriving business future for your agency, but also in particular for the clients. And how we do that is we apply the red method that is outlined in this book, which I'm going to show you now. Paulson, you want to ask me anything or just should I
Yeah, I
dive
say you
into this?
dive right in. Yeah, I say you dive right in as I get, ideas and thoughts of because I've been part of your journey for the last like 7 years. I feel like I'll interrupt as needed to provide colors or context for the audience.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so, we talked about the roadmap, engine, and drive, but in effect, that's not it. There's three key accelerators for every lever that we pull. Accelerators when you put your foot on the pedal and you're actually pushing forward. Okay, so this is our method. It's not the method that everyone will use, but this is one way of trying to essentially put these steps into a chronological order that you can use for your business with high level at the core. And also you can kind of, you can serve your own clients as well. So, number one is really market, an understanding of your market, market intimacy, knowing at a deep, profound level who you're speaking to, what are their deepest desires, hopes, wishes, but also pain points, frustrations, problems in the language that they speak, right? Um, Very few businesses actually take the time to do the work, and there's a lot of assumptions there, and you can assume, but assumptions are usually going to end up in wasted ad spend, especially when it comes to reaching more people, and you're paying for that. So doing the deep work to understand your market and their motivating attributes, and also where they sit in the stages of awareness. Are they aware that they even have a problem? In fact, when we're selling AI, so many businesses don't even know they have a problem, right? It's not, we haven't found it super easy to sell, right? Despite, here's another myth buster, right? It isn't easy to sell all the time, right? Some businesses will know that that's the kind of missing link in AI and automation. Most businesses will not, especially because they haven't heard of it, they don't even know it exists. And right, and so that totally affects your marketing, and how you're going to communicate them, whether they know that they have a problem, are they problem aware, solution aware, or not aware they have a problem. You need to meet them where they are. So we have a toolkit which we use to help kind of diagnose and document this and kind of do that deep research. The second accelerator is actually porting all of that market intel into the messaging of your business. So everything from your offer, your unique value proposition, and having a unique mechanism for what you do, right? We have a unique mechanism that's essentially your unique brand, your label for what you do, your service. Like, I'll give you a really layman example. Say we both have the same, so we're two pizza places. We're both offering a margarita. It's okay, it's cheese and tomato based pizza, but I call mine the ultimate F. Rodino master class, master pizza TM, and that's actually, I've now made that margarita mine, and you can do that as well in your marketing. And if you've been in the high level community, you might know that there's a lot of people doing this right now, and we're just using the tools, right? So it's increasingly important to actually look at how are you using high level, and I say high level, but you could be a consultant or a coach. How are you helping people with your unique product or service and give it a name, right? It'll help people differentiate you from everybody else. And how do you communicate that in terms of irresistible offer? So I don't have really the time to go deeper than that, but we also have frameworks and toolkits um, that enable us to kind of translate the market intel into key messaging. And then third accelerator is outlining a customer journey map, which is one of our key products in our business, is that we actually sell customer journey maps as a standalone product. So what I'm showing you here is actually, these are components, and they can be all done at once holistically, that and results in um, one core system, or you can take elements and kind of dip in and dip out and use them as when needed. But your customer journey map is essentially your tool to help turn a stranger, a cold lead, someone that doesn't know you exist, into a buyer, right? And going through the stages of the sales funnel from initial awareness through to consideration, intent, buyer, and beyond to a brand advocate, right? And
Yeah.
like I said, is if you know your market deeply and intimately, you can meet them where they are to help bring them down from that, 67, to play in that 67% pool and turn them into an active buyer, which is what so many businesses don't do. So market,
Yeah.
messaging, and map.
Now, real quick, and just for the mechanics of accomplishing this goal, I assume you have them fill out a survey or an audit, or maybe you jump on a Zoom call and walk through different areas of the business and kind of, interview style in the beginning stages of your relationship. Is that a good assumption?
Yes, absolutely. We personally we do this on a Zoom or depending on the scope of the project. Recently we worked with a really established book publisher in the UK, and we sell these for quite a few thousands of pounds, right, as a one-off piece. And these are great entry point, foot in the door pieces, right? Because ultimately, and this is also something I think that everybody should know, is that here at in my business, we do a lot of custom builds. So we I like custom. A lot of people say don't do custom because it's too much work, it's not scalable. Well, actually, at least in the UK, we found that custom is a way to differentiate ourselves because our clients need custom. They want custom, and the right clients will pay for custom. Not everyone has the budgets to pay for sophisticated builds, but I also think you can do more, and this is up to everyone. I'm not saying how you should do it. I'm just saying that what we found and what we do, and it's going to be different depending on your strengths and weaknesses and the skills and the kind of agencies that you want to do. Um, but customer journeys with complexity and messaging that will meet the customer in the place that they want at the right time on the right channel with the right message. That's what the customer journey map is all about.
Got it. Makes sense. So I guess engine is next, huh?
Yeah, so in your engine is just the sexy word that we used to make the red method make sense, but the engine is your system. And oh, that's my phone. An engine is your system, and your system in this case has been HighLevel. Um, so we use HighLevel as our core system to capture leads. So building out lead magnets or quizzes or funnels or data capture mechanisms to turn that lead into someone you can contact. Cultivate relationships. So nurture, build relationships, send your contacts into different customer journeys and experiences depending on what they've clicked on, depending on how they respond. HighLevel is a great tool that allows you to do that, in a visual way, so you can really geek out on building those nurture systems and also converting those leads into sales. So capture, cultivate, convert, and that's all about using your HighLevel CRM as the core engine to drive that forward. The third lever that we pull in the red method is drive. So obviously we need to go somewhere in most cases. Um, and now you have a system, you have an engine, you understand your market, you've crafted your messaging, you know your offers, your unique value proposition, and you know exactly how you're going to deliver those messages to the right people, and you've got the tech to capture leads and nurture them and convert them into sales. But if you're not reaching more people, well, it's just going to sit there a little bit underutilized. Let's put it this way. And in the book, essentially our method, we use paid ads to do that. You don't have to use paid ads. Um, it's just one strategy. We built the book around using paid ads, Google and Facebook, because we work a lot with home service businesses, service-led businesses who are advertising, right? And they want to get found online fast, and they have something to sell. They want to just basically pay for traffic and eyeballs. And the thing is that most of the time we find that if your ads aren't working, usually comes down to you haven't had a system to nurture those leads, capture, nurture, convert those leads, and you haven't really done the deep work of knowing your market, the messaging that resonates that resonates with them. And 75% of people just burn a lot of money on paid ads without actually doing this work. I call it the deep work, digging deep to build high. Okay, and that's what it takes. And a, it's not an overnight, it doesn't happen overnight. Um, Number two, the second accelerator in the drive lever is resell. So increasing the purchase frequency, getting your customers to either buy from you or again and again through upsells, cross sells, or new products and services, or referring you to their friends, loyalty programs, referrals. And all of this HighLevel makes it actually dead easy because it's all in one platform. You don't necessarily need different tools and to go outside and use Zapier, Make, or connect different services. You can do so much from using HighLevel as well as your core kind of workhorse, right? And of course, HighLevel, what's great about it is it's so expandable and flexible that if you do find the products that you want to integrate into HighLevel, it's actually most of the time pretty easy to do so. And then the third is refine. So in the refine accelerator is all about optimization. So I cover the numbers that you need to know to be able to break down why your marketing is not working, your cost per click, your cost per lead, your cost per impressions, right? If they don't fall within certain benchmarks, how do you kind of take those numbers and look at an ads manager and retro engineer where your funnel is broken or where that can be improved, right? And so everything is interconnected in a chronological way that kind of covers the what you need to know step by step so that you have the ability to put in place a system like this, diagnose it if it's not working, but also kind of come back to each chapter and refine. Like we're constantly refining our leads machine, our client acquisition machine. We keep what works, we kill what doesn't, and we just improve it. The message on our website, I'm changing it all the time. So it's always a work in progress. Never, it's never done. And that's essentially the red method, roadmap, engine, and drive.
I love it. So what would this kind of look like inside of the platform? Is that maybe something we should do now?
Yeah,
Or
sure.
is
Actually,
there
so I'll just let's see what I've got. Here's one I created earlier. Um, okay. So this is just a confidential view of our dashboard here. And so we have a custom skin for our HighLevel, which is called Lead Hero. So just for anyone that's kind of new to a pipeline and a client acquisition system, how it all works. We have leads that come in from different sources. We're not too concerned about tracking monetary at the moment. Also because we have so many different custom pricing, and we don't match that. We don't care about that at the moment. But what we do care about is like tracking. So we have new leads coming in from Instantly, which is a cold email software. We have AI demo from our website that people submit. We're running LinkedIn ads. We have a wait list. We've done Facebook lead ads, so we can see where everyone is coming from, and to monitor what's working, what's not working, and we send them through a pretty set journey to book a call. So we have new lead. Um, we can see if they're qualified or not based on responses in a form coming from our lead capture. We have the unresponsive ones. We can
So
see
these are
everybody.
these are different these are different stages of your sales process.
Correct.
Gotcha.
Correct. And these are things that I want to know basically as well. So I want to know everyone that's clicked on a link in our email marketing. That kind of tells me, all right, well, there's someone possibly interested. So we have workflows set up for all of this stuff. We have a book funnel from my book as well. You can buy the book on Amazon as well, but you can also get it direct from us. And so we're tracking that. And so we have all of these different lead sources coming into one central repository. In our sales process, we have two core phases. One is a discovery call by phone, and then they book a Zoom call with me. And we track no shows, and then we also have follow up, and then the sold as well. And underneath all of that, we've got essentially, yeah, we've got workflows, long-term nurture, for example. So on our long-term nurture is uh 52 emails. So it works all year long. So anybody that,
If you can zoom in a little bit more, maybe to like 120, yeah, well, that's perfect.
yeah,
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you.
yeah. So we have a 52-week nurture that is kind of pre-written, and this is built all around kind of selling AI at the moment. As AI is very hot. It's a great way to kind of engage into conversation. And these are all pre-written emails. So the fact that we can create long-term campaigns, as you're doing your lead generation, you just start to see that, people start to get to know you. If they're not unsubscribing, they're interested in your emails. And then they just kind of come out of the woodwork when you least expect it, when
Expect.
when they're when
Yeah.
they're ready. So there's kind of a lot of things. Some are pretty high tech. We have an AI bot as well that we've been using. So if people inquire from our web chat, the AI will take over, have full-blown conversation. So appointment reminders, chat widget, the main website contact form as well. And to give you an idea as well, we have this is an example of an appointment funnel that we're running ads to and works really, really well. Um, AI powered sales system. It's my pretty face on the video. So VSL is kind of structured in uh, to psychologically prime customers as to what it does, why it's important, um, the unique value proposition. And so all of this, the funnel, workflows, appointment reminders, I'm also just FYI, I'm including that in the snapshot that I've provided HighLevel
Oh,
to
brilliant.
put
Yeah.
into to associate to this master class. So if you're on the
Yeah.
master class and you want to get access to all of these as well, I've just put what we use in a snapshot, and that can get you started with high level. And so you can have that funnel. It's still got me in it. Obviously, you need to make it yours. You need to change the video, change the testimonials, but make it yours. But you're free to use the copy, that we've wrote, and we're thinking abundant. We just want to share it with people, add value because the high level community has been really great to
Yeah.
us as well.
Thank
And
you.
so
Thank you so much for that, Francis. I know the community loves stuff. And just because it's free, please do not undervalue it. I know Francis and his team went through years of developing a system that works for them. Francis, you coming from the corporate world, it makes total sense that you're building an agency that is a custom agency, right? And because that's just your strength, right? So every single one of you have your own strengths. You need to identify that. But Francis, what would recommend to the person that's just starting out today in high level?
I mean, I think it really depends. Well, I guess, okay, if I take it just away from high level a little bit, I would say just be clear on what you want as a person. If you're starting out on high level, why? Why high level? Is it high level for the sake of high level? Is it high level because you've heard that it's a tool? But the misconception, here's another myth buster. The misconception is that high level does the work for you, right? It people come on, you hear all of these things, and it's like, oh, if you just get high level, and it's not that. High level is a toolkit. It's your box of tools, right? And you will need to discover what tool you're going to use and what suits your strength, vision, personality, desire. We don't use all the tools that high level has given us, right? And it'll depend on your market and what you want in life. So that's kind of really important. So if you're new to high level, if you're just getting started with an agency or just your SaaS, do you want something scalable and you want to get as many clients on a low ticket as possible? Well, that's one kind of business that needs to kind of be built in one way. Are you a creative? Do you like integrations, workflows? Do you geek out at that kind of thing? Well, maybe it's all about, a more sophisticated, complex, turnkey solution and your consultancy. Maybe it's about like how you can guide your clients along to discover and put in place a certain outcome, right? So knowing what you want for yourself will determine what you might use high level for. And it's certainly more user friendly and more beautifully designed than it was back in 2018. They've updated the UI, things work a bit more the way you would expect. You know, like calendars and booking, they've kind of made it a lot easier. So people joining up now actually are have a will get on board faster, I think.
Absolutely. Francis, do you mind sharing your slides one more time? I know there's some links that we wanted to provide. For
Yeah.
those of you that are jumping in and you want somebody to handhold you, maybe jump on a Zoom and walk you through high level, you can go to speakwith.us/live dash walkthrough. There's a live agent on a Zoom 24/7, no matter what time zone you're in, that will be able to jump in right now and walk you through high level if you want to. And then in addition to that, along for this masterclass, if you go to masterclass.gohighlevel.com/resources, we'll make sure all the things that Francis wants to provide to you as long as you're part of a high level account, like you need a high level account to use a snapshot, which is kind of our safety mechanism to make sure somebody is not just coming in just grabbing all the resources for no reason. But either way, we'll make all that available to you. So Francis, if you want to stop sharing, you can. What is your final thoughts as we kind of just close this out? There's a lot we covered here. What you shared essentially is like the beginning stages of a relationship with a client, which to me, it's the most important step because the way you start off matters, and that's just the way that relationship is going to grow. And you come in with a plan, a game, a game plan, master plan. You're going to be in a better place altogether, and then you can build in the systems and the engine, or later on, let's say you get to a world of spending months with this client, you can go to that refined mode of how the drive is. Maybe the North Star changes. I'm sure goals will change for clients just like you. So it's always good to have those touch points. But Francis, like, take us home on your final thoughts here as we close out the masterclass.
Well, the final thoughts are, I know everyone I speak to uses high level in a different way, or uses high level to serve their clients in a different way. Every agency is different. And, obviously you can take inspiration from different people doing different things. Lord knows I have. Um, but at the end of the day, I kind of found my own place when I just kind of became at peace with what made sense to me and not necessarily copying someone else's business model because they're a SaaSpreneur or they've done this and that's how they use high level. It kind of didn't really work or make sense, right? And so I would say get stuck in. It's a fantastic tool and a fantastic community, and be ready to learn, grow, and do consistent things and build your agency for the long term. There is no quick fix. There is no silver bullet. There's no overnight success. The overnight successes usually have been doing this for 10, 15 years, right? So I think on a positive note, I would like to encourage everyone there who maybe feels a little bit trapped in a corporate job. High level has given me a tool to actually offer my own services and grow my business. I don't think we would have the business that we do if it weren't for the capability that High Level has provided with us. Like we couldn't do it with other CRM platforms and other tools out there. So that's kind of like I have a soft spot for the team, and they've helped me get to this place, and it is possible. Anyone can do it if you stick with it and don't give it up, and just bring your own passion and energy and enthusiasm every day to what you do.
I love it. Well, Francis, thanks for jumping into this masterclass, sharing a ton of your findings over the years. I'm excited to see you at one of these events pretty soon. So, for those of you that want the resources, the snapshots, put your comments below. We'll make sure we reach out to you and provide that to you, or we'll provide the links of where the resources are. And if you don't have a high level account yet, this is a great, great opportunity to jump into high level. You always want to grab some sort of snapshot to just get ahead of the curve. And you got, a ton of instructions here as well. But bye for now. Thank you for watching.
Bye.